911, what's your emergency?
Oh, you need to help us. We've been in an accident.
Okay, I need you to calm down so I can get some information from you and start help your way. What is your name and where are you?
My name's Brandon. I'm not sure where we are. We were driving home from a party and we lost control. Please hurry. We're all hurt really bad.
Okay, Brandon, I need you to take some deep breaths. What is the last street you remember driving on?
Ocotillo somewhere. We passed the school.
Where are you headed?
Queen Creek.
Okay, so you're about Ocotillo and Ironwood?
Yeah, I think that's the name.
She's not moving, man.
Please, you have to hurry. Raydell is not responding.
Okay, Brandon, I have help on the way right now, but I need you to stay on the phone so I can get some information from you, okay? What is your phone number in case we get disconnected?
Okay, it's 407293154.
How many vehicles were involved?
Just us. I told Cody not to drive. I told him, but he wouldn't listen.
Brandon, how many people are in the vehicle?
There's 4 of us. Please, we really need an ambulance.
Brandon, help is already on the way. They'll be there as soon as they can.
Hurry!
Why did you tell Cody not to drive? Had he been drinking at the party?
Yeah, we've all been drinking except Raydell. We told him to let Raydell drive, but he has this brand new car and he didn't want anyone to wreck it.
Okay, you said there are 4 of you in the vehicle and that Raydell is not responding. I need you not to move her, but can you see if she's breathing?
No, I don't think she is.
She's not breathing, man. Hurry!
I'm in the backseat. I can't really see her very well.
Is anybody else in the vehicle injured?
Yeah, we're all really banged up. Paula's bleeding from her head and Raydell's definitely not breathing. Please hurry.
Okay, stay calm. My units are about 2 minutes away from where we think you might be. Can you tell if Paula's breathing?
Yeah, she's breathing. But there's a lot of blood.
Okay, Brandon, are you all inside the vehicle still?
Yeah, we can't get the doors open.
It is very important that you try not to move anybody right now, okay? Okay, Brandon, my units are telling me they're coming up to your location. Can you see them?
Yeah, I see them.
Okay, I'm going to disconnect the line now.
today. This is a serious topic. I know that we are doing a reenactment or an enactment of something that is quite serious, and some people have gone through this in their lives, whether it be close and personal, whether it be extended family, friends, loved ones. Please be respectful to those individuals as we proceed with this. While this has been an enactment up till now, and we are going to finish the sentencing piece, we will end with a much more serious demonstration or slide presentation about some real life experiences, as we have DPS with us today, and their wake up, they're going to be able to talk to you about some real statistics, real activities that have occurred. So please be respectful for them. At this time, I'm going to welcome Judge Goodman to come on stage. He is with and we begin with the rest of the sentencing. Deputy Mayor Seguin.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming and participating in what this activity that we have for you today. These lights, it's hard for me to see people, but I'm sure there's a few of you that I've seen. And how's your community service going with Coach Lawrence? Okay, school's going to be out soon, so make sure you get those hours done for me, so I don't have to suspend your driver's licenses or put you in jail. But we're going to go ahead and proceed, and if again, during this, not a ceremony, but this activity, if you can be respectful to all the parties, and especially when you see these pictures, these are actual victims, they're real people. Clay Wonderler, is that correct? Clay, you have gone through the process and you have been found guilty by a jury of your peers of second-degree murder as a result of a car accident. Now, some of the mitigating factors of this is that you had consumed alcohol, you were determined to be impaired, and you also had marijuana in your system. And so that made you that makes the sentencing more harsh. The fact that you even had a trace of marijuana. And the maximum penalties that you can receive here today are anywhere between 7 and 21 years. And you're 17 years old. You've been tried as an adult. You were tried as an adult because your birthday's coming up soon, but also the fact that you had that trace of marijuana in your system. And so you'll be incarcerated into the system. The day you turn 18, you'll be put into an adult prison, but in a unit where there's minors. The day you turn 18, you'll be put in the general population with the rest of the folks who are adults. Now, before I do the sentencing, we're going to go ahead and proceed and let the victim in this case address the court and you as well.
I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to know how tortured I was. Watching my best friend be killed. Because you killed them. And I want you to know that every morning I wake up, I want to walk again. But I'm never going to do that. I'd give anything to walk again. But you took that away from me. And I'd sit here and cry, but I'm not going to put on a big show for you. Because that's not true. On the inside, I'm just empty. and I'm alone. And all I have are their memories because you took everything else away from me. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Mrs. Wandeler, do you have something you would like to address to the court?
Yes, Your Honor. It's very difficult for me to be here, obviously, but it's no more difficult than the people who have been hurt by this entire incident. He's a good kid, he really is, and I hope that in some way you can find some leniency and give him an opportunity to use this as a way to teach others of what can happen when you make a really bad decision. Enough lives have been hurt by this horrible, horrible incident, and I just pray that his doesn't have to be harmed any more than it already is by living with this tragedy. I feel for everyone involved, but again, I hope that you have some understanding that in your heart, and you can have leniency on my boy.
Okay, thank you. Counsel, does your client wish to address the court?
Yes.
Go ahead, Clay.
I would just like to start by saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you, Madison. I'm sorry to you, Mom. I'm sorry to everybody I've hurt by my decision. I just can't believe that something like this could ever happen to me. I mean, I've always tried to do what's right, get good grades, but it's a party, you know, and I made a bad decision, and I deserve to be punished. Thank you.
Okay. Clay, I don't think that you were thinking about any punishment when you went to the party. Unfortunately, we have young people decide that they want to party and think they have to consume alcohol to do that, or ingest drugs to have a good time. And maybe you did have a good time at the party, but since that accident, I know that you haven't had a good time, and you're not going to have a good time for the next several years. You're going to have to go through this process. A lot of pain has been out there for a whole lot of people, victims, families, your family, and the young lady's family that deceased. And so, but there's actions, and there's consequences for those actions. It's the determination of this court that you'll be serving 15 years in the Arizona State prison system, and I hope that at some point during that time that you understand, if you already haven't, the seriousness of your actions and the reason why you're having to pay this high price. And if deputies, if you'll go ahead and escort this young man, and he'll be transported to the system. Since we're going to be a little bit short on time while they're escorting Clay out of here, I want to explain one thing before we turn the time over to our DPS officers to give us their slide presentation. Folks, just in this mock trial, the charge was second-degree murder. I have 2 cases pending in my court right now where individuals committed a simple traffic violation. One was failure to yield at an intersection on a green light, and the other one was running a stop sign. Simple civil traffic violation. Normally that's just a fine and 2 points on a driver's license. Unfortunately, an accident happened in these cases and somebody was killed. It could have been charged as a criminal complaint, but for some reason the state didn't do that. These are civil violations with a death. I can take somebody's license for a year. Big deal. I can fine somebody $168 and then plus the $143 for the original citation. The $168 is because they had an accident. To have the people, the victims, family, come in and be able to address the court, you have no idea how that makes everybody involved feel. I'm not even a part of it. On one of these incidences, I happen to know one of the victims that was seriously injured, and her fiance was killed. The impact that it has on individuals, you just cannot and do not want to experience that. A simple traffic violation. We all commit those. Most of us don't get caught when we do it. But if you do not learn and have an established good driving habits and a driving behavior at your age, then you're going to be a bad driver when you're my age. And we don't need that on the road. So please, we're talking a lot in this assembly and about drinking and underage drinking. Well, y'all know you're not supposed to know that, but keep in mind a simple running a stop sign, speeding, trying to beat the yellow light before it turns red, little things like that will really impact a person's life if there's an accident. So just keep that in mind, and we'll go ahead and proceed with our DPS presentation.
Thank you for having us here. Thanks to the administration. We always enjoy coming here and speaking about the real world. What you just saw was a reenactment of what happens in a pretend world, but we're excited to talk about what really happens out on the road and what lives are really affected and what things. I will. Okay. Getting back to the real world, the slides that you're about to see, this is a disclaimer for you guys. If you have a weak stomach and you don't think that you can handle the real world, then please kind of just scoot to the side, and there's no shame in leaving. But getting back to the real world, where sorry doesn't count anymore, where the victims are real, where the guy goes to prison for real, where we scrape the carnage off the road. I want to introduce to you Tom Olzak, who works for the Highway Patrol for the last 13 years. And behind me is Mitch Jurgensen. He's worked for the Highway Patrol for the last 14 years. My name is Scott Reuter. I'm a sergeant with the Department of Public Safety, and I've been on the road for 19 years. We're here today to give you the choice. We're going to give you the choice to make some decisions during prom, during summer, as you move into senior year and into college. And here's your choices, guys. They're real simple. Follow the rules or suffer the consequences. It's your choice. There's 4 things that we're going to talk about today. The first probably is your speed. Control your speed, obey the traffic laws. Most of you have driver's licenses. It's pretty self-explanatory. Don't drink and drive. Wear your seatbelt and stay off your cell phone. Whatever that might be, your text messaging or your cell phone. When you're driving, you're doing a lot of things. That's called what we like to refer to as divided attention. You're able to do 2 or 3 or 4 things at the same time when you're driving, right? You drive, you look out, you're changing lanes, changing the radio. Anything that distracts you from that, don't do it. Okay? So get into the slideshow. We've already talked about these. Use your seatbelt. Don't get into a vehicle with somebody who you know has been smoking or drinking. Don't drive fast. Number one cause of teenage deaths. Okay? speed. Don't drink and drive, and don't use drugs. I'm not your parent. I'm not going to treat you like your parent. You guys are all adults, you know. Some of you will be going to college. Some of you will be going into the military and fighting for our country. And you guys are about to embark on some great times in your life. Everything that we're talking about here today, once again, is real world. It's real things, real consequences that happen to people. It's a reality that that person will go to prison for at least 10 years. It's a reality that that gal's not going to get up from that wheelchair and walk anymore. It's reality that people die. Next, please. So there you go. Here we go. We start off with, a car accident. If you go to the next slide, please. All right. So, short story. Just like a lot of you guys, proms win tomorrow night. This is a prom night after party. Everybody's partying. They're having a good time, drinking. They decide, look, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and we need some more beer. The girlfriend, in this case, decides, you know what, I'm going to stay behind. I know how you are drinking. She makes a great choice, right? So once again, we talk about choices and consequences. She makes a choice. These guys pile in the car, head down the road, and if you go to the next slide, they run into the back of a diesel. Okay, the diesel spins out and is hit several more times. I think there's 3 or 4, if I remember right, 4 guys in this car. All of them are deceased on the scene. We talk about consequences, we talk about choice, we talk about drinking and driving. I'll drive that into your heads over the next 15 minutes. This is a consequence, right? Next slide, please. Okay, so this picture is also from 3 or 4 guys getting a car, and they had been drinking. Would you say that this is a back seat passenger or a front seat passenger? Wrong. That's the driver of the vehicle. Okay, the back seat passenger wasn't wearing his seatbelt. Next slide, please. Okay. This is a result of drinking and driving and not wearing your seatbelt. We all have choices. All right. Next, please. Okay. Talk about wearing our seatbelts. Had this individual here wasn't impaired, I think he was a sleepy driver up on the Interstate 17 heading towards Lake Pleasant, right? Doing really nothing wrong except for swerved off the side of the road, and he got caught up in a rollover accident. When you're not wearing your seatbelt, think of it like this, guys. You're not wearing your seatbelt, you're going to flop around like a sock in a dryer, right? But if you have that seatbelt on, you're going to stay with the bigger portion of the cab, and you're going to get rolled over. You're going to go with the vehicle, so you have a fighting chance. It doesn't mean that you are not going to be ejected by some other means, but this guy wears a seatbelt. If you look at the cab of the vehicle, everything's intact. He doesn't wear a seatbelt. He flies off the back. Okay, so here we go. Your speed, right? Seatbelts, drinking and driving, and stay off your phones. So on this one, I think I'm going to turn the microphone over to Officer Olzak, who actually was on this scene, and it's another example of drinking and driving.
Hey, what you see here, 202 freeway by Tempe Town Lake. Have you ever been by there? It's pretty much a bridge. It's over Salt River. So you see a light pole out there on the edge of that concrete barrier. 50 foot down is the drop. There's a little shelf there with the electrical box. You see some kind of clothing there on the right side. Okay, if we go back one slide, please. You see farther up the road there in the far right lane, you'll see looks like a yellow blanket. That's the other half of that person. So what happened was this person was coming home, a young man from a party in Tempe. He got in a fight with his girlfriend. brand new motorcycle, a crotch rocket you might call it, fast bike, got on his bike, took off driving. His girlfriend went to follow but could never keep up. So as he's driving down the road, I believe after the accident, they had a speedometer about 130 miles an hour. That concrete, he hit the side of that concrete barrier right there, cut him in half. Okay, if we go ahead and change slides, please. That's his upper torso. You can see it hit that rail and split open just like a side of beef, like cattle. Those are his ribs. The bottom half of his torso is what you see about 100 yards down the freeway in that far right lane. If you can see right there, that's his head sitting on that shelf. Next slide, please. Next one, please. Okay, that's his torso that I pointed out about 100 yards up. Now, the bike kept going, and his torso kept going, but at least 5 other people hit that torso, and they stopped. Those people have to live with that for the rest of their life, that they hit that person. They stopped, they thought maybe it was an animal, until someone noticed it wasn't an animal. It was part of a human being. Next slide, please. And that's what landed on the shelf right there. Next slide, please. And that's what they found in his back pocket. His girlfriend came upon that after she made some phone calls, couldn't find him, and she came upon that. And she told the story, what happened. How he left the party, they got in an argument, and he's been drinking when he left that party. High rate of speed. Cut him right in half. But those people who came across that and saw it and ran over that torso, they have to live with that for the rest of their life for what he did. Something to remember.
Thanks, Tom. So here's what's the underlying theme. We all have choices until we start drinking and smoking, right? We all have choices. So the choice for me probably in this scenario is let's not get started, right? At the prom party tomorrow night or whenever it is that you guys are out partying, just say, hey, I'm out. I'm not making the choice to drink or smoke right now, because the consequences are sometimes you don't have the choice, the ability, because you're impaired, to make a conscious right decision not to do the wrong thing. Make the right choice before it's kind of like I tell people, prepare to fail. If you know you're going to drink, if you know you're going to smoke, and I don't condone it, but if you know you're going to do it, make that decision to take some steps in the first place not to get behind the wheel. All right, so now we're kind of towards the end of the slideshow, and this is kind of the thing that we're leading into. Here we go, guys. You have a star football athlete, baseball athlete. You have, the prom king, whoever it is. We don't care who you are. Alcohol, impairment, drugs, they don't really discriminate. It doesn't take long to look in the papers, to look in your own community and find out that the star football player, the quarterback of the football team, is the biggest messed up guy on campus. All right, everybody knows it. He just happens to be a stud. So the thing is next slide, please. This Jacqueline was a exchange student from Venezuela. She came to the United States to learn English to help her father with the air conditioning business back in Venezuela. Next, please. Next. Okay. Show some pictures leading up to the night where, she goes out and, she's having fun with her friends and she goes to parties and stuff. And next, please. She's living a good life. And you could read the caption, car in which she's traveling in, when she's hit by a car driven by a 17-year-old student on his way home after a couple of beers with his friends. This is in 1999. Shows a picture next of of what she looks like after this collision, okay? She was in the car with 4 people. I don't believe any of them in that car were drinking at all or high or anything. 2 of the people in the car were deceased when the fire department got there. She was burned over 60% of her body, I think mostly the upper torso, and she had 3rd-degree burns. She's had 40 operations, all right? This is real life. This is what we talk about. This is, you know, it's nice to, it's really good that you do scenarios like that, and it hits home for some people. But this is the after effect of someone's poor decision, right? So father sticks by her. The 17-year-old, next please. Anybody burn their finger or burn their hand or got it on an exhaust pipe from a motorcycle? You know how painful that is, right? This is over 60% of her body. You know, this is a constant pain that she'll never get over. You know, if you read in the paper, you know, that Jason Sheckerly, the Phoenix police officer who was burned, a close personal friend of ours, you know, and this is real life, what happens as a consequence. Next, please. And this young man is the stud football player. He's the stud thespian. He's the stud computer guy. He's a guy that everybody likes, right? He's the fun guy to party with. But here's the consequences now. This guy goes through the same thing you just saw. Next, please. And it's like I tell everyone, sorry is not good enough anymore. You're past the point. You've made the poor decision. You've made the choice to drink or get high and get behind a wheel, and that is over, guys. Now you're introduced into the court system, which Judge talked about. And the court system is you know, it was a good reenactment, but the reality is for the next 10 years, I believe, of this. Next, please. Okay, so the next 10 years of this guy sits behind bars because he made a bad decision. Is this guy probably a pretty good guy? Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a guy that I might hook up with and go to a movie and hang out with at a ball game later? Yeah. But the thing is people are going to laugh about it. People are going to make fun of it. And people are going to joke about it because it could happen to all of us. All right? So prepare to fail, guys. Prepare and take the steps necessary not to cause anybody any hardships. You know, as a course of our duty, on a side note, we have to go to those houses. Not only do we have to see this scene, right? We don't have to pick that head off of that barrier. We don't have to clean up the guts off the road. But now we got to go to your house, and tell them that, hey, your son or daughter made a poor decision. They're not coming home tonight. They've either killed somebody or they'll be incarcerated for the next 10 years. All right, next, please. These are some of my friends, some of our friends that have died in the line of duty as a result of impaired drivers. And quite frankly, I can be honest, it pisses me off that it happened. So we take this 100% serious. You will get this many chances with me if you're impaired. Next. Okay, do we have time for questions, or are we about done?
Thank you for your time today. Thank you, Bulldogs, for your respect. This is a very serious topic, and we know that it probably touched home with some of you. Prom is tomorrow night. Please be safe. Remember, it doesn't have to be drinking and driving. We are going to dismiss to your 3rd hour class. Today is the last day for prom tickets, so please get those at lunchtime.